Welcome back to DBS and the DFL studio. Tonight, we're discussing a topic that you, our viewers, chose. Why are there so many single professional women in St Lucia? Our guests are Tekla Fitz, who is the Regional Director of Business Development Caribbean of Laureate International Universities, and St Lucian and Caribbean journalist Earl Bousquet. Here's a quick reminder of tonight's giveaways. Name a brand of stainless steel cookware that AF Valmore currently carries. A brand of stainless steel cookware that AF Valmore they currently carry. And the winner can choose from one of those lovely items I showed earlier: a percolator, lamp, rug, a mug set, a pressure sprayer, or an assortment of garden gloves. What is the name of Carrasco & Son Limited's paint shop in Rodney Bay? Carrasco & Son, they have a paint shop in Rodney Bay. What is the name? Answer correctly and you have the opportunity to win a metallic water-based decorative paint kit. Now, we're talking about why there's so many single professional ladies in St Lucia, and boy oh boy have I received so many emails already. I don't know how I'm going to get through all of those tonight, and I think our guest tonight will have to help us. Now, before I ask you the first question, Tekla, just tell us a little about yourself. That's a very huge title there. What does it mean?
Okay, as the Regional Director of Laureate International Universities, it's actually a network of 60 universities around the world: Asia, Europe, Africa, North and South, the US, North America, Latin America, Canada. There are two of those institutions high-end who offer their programs primarily online for working professionals, because we know there are many factors that prevent persons from traveling overseas, because we have limited tertiary educational opportunities in the Caribbean, in most Caribbean islands, especially the OECS. So working professionals really prefer to do that. I made contact with that organization, and they needed somebody to represent them in the business development unit. My headquarters is in Amsterdam, and the corporate offices are in the US, so I work between these two offices, meet with a number of regional heads so that we could understand what are their needs, because it's not the regular institutions who just proliferate the Caribbean with programs they think are necessary, but it's an institution who want to custom the needs for the Caribbean. And because they're so involved in social change, they wanted, you know, professionals or somebody who understood the Caribbean region and the cultural, the dynamism in education, what we need, what skill sets we need to develop. And that's where I came in, because I had amassed over 12 years of experience in the higher learning fraternity.
Okay, well, I must say to you that I was actually at the bank today, and someone said, "Oh, is that you, Mr. Law?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, I know, I'm looking forward to tonight's show, because Tekla Fitz, who's going to be your guest, she actually came and she gave us a seminar a couple of days ago." She said, "Oh, I was really impressed," and I was like, "I'm so motivated now." So you are doing a good job. I'm sure people tell you, but it's always nice when you hear it from somebody else. So well done with that.
Thank you.
Oh, now we see you on the television daily. We see you all the time, you know, one way or the other. You know, we see you, we hear you, and so on and so forth. But in your own words, how would you describe your career, what you do?
Yeah, well, I've always described myself as a journalist, freelance journalist. I've worked between freelance and working with governments. I've hardly worked with the private sector. That has to do with the fact that I'm also political in my outlook and my view. My writing is also political, but quite apart from that, I love to exercise the elasticity of the language. So I would write as much about sports as I would about anything else, and feel just as comfortable. What can I say about myself? I live on the computer. I started off in the days when we actually wrote with a pen our articles, then came in the typewriter, and then came in the word processors, and then came in the desktop computers, and now the laptop.
Great idea of your age,
you know, so and the internet. So I basically work and live on my computer, on the net. My service provider had a problem yesterday, and I didn't have access to the net for 12 hours, and I was miserable. And the entire household knew that.
Yeah. And same household. I know both of you are very close to your families. Yeah, both have grandchildren. We are grandparents on the set.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
yes,
definitely.
All three of us, we are grandparents.
Proud
Yes, yes.
We're,
grandparents.
we're
We're the new
wonderful.
generation of
We're the-
grandparents.
yeah, we are. Lovely. So, you know, it's nice to have you both on the set. So everyone, viewers, you know the background of our people here. And of course, you know Tekla is single. That's why she's here.
Definitely.
But Tekla, when we say that, I mean, have you ever been referred to as single and a professional? If you haven't been referred to that way, have you heard of that term? And what connotations go through your mind when you hear that?
Actually, Delia, whenever people see me, they seem to think I'm married. And I find that even in my profession, I go out there, address conferences, keynote speaker, guest speaker, facilitator, and everybody call me Mistress Fitz. And it's like, I was not married to my father, and they're looking for Mr. Fitz. So really, it's the first impression somebody gets. She's married. Probably is because I normally wear my rings on my left finger, so I actually took it out. So I will not dispel that misperception that I am married. But the terminology single but professional, if I tell somebody I'm single, then they figure, wow, why is a strong woman like her single? Is it because men are intimidated by her? Is it because she's a feminist? Because, you know, normally people get the impression that if you're single, you're a feminist.
Do they think that, or do they think that because you're single, especially if you're single for a certain length of time, there must be
Right.
something wrong with you?
Or sometimes if
There's something wrong with you.
something is wrong with you. Why doesn't she have a man? And they do not think the thoughts anymore, you know, they express it verbally. So when persons say single, wow, they have so many impressions of why should she be single. And I have to sometimes justify and say, look, I am single by choice, not by chance. It's a choice that I have made.
Seriously, though, is it? Seriously, when you say you're single by choice, and I'm sorry, I really don't mean to be degradable to any man here, okay? I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Right.
When you say by choice, is it because there's nothing to choose from? As opposed to, well, there are lots of choices, there are lots of, you know, suitors, possible suitors, but you're just not interested at the moment because you've got other things on your mind, whether it's your career, your family, or whatever. But when you say by choice, is it because there's nothing to choose from?
Okay, to be quite honest with you, Delia, when a woman decides to be single by choice, it can be a number of things. Her value system. She's not ready to compromise her values,
But you know,
or her standards to accept anything just to say she's in a relationship.
I'm just going to stop you there because you see this value thing, I think it's actually a big thing. It's not something that we should discuss in 30 seconds, which is more or less what I have for this break. So hold that thought. Now we're going to go to the break, I'm sure you know that, but here's a reminder of this week's giveaways, all right? We want you to name a brand of stainless steel cookware that AF Valmore currently carries. And also, we'd like you to name the shop, the paint shop that is owned by Carrasco and Son Limited, and they're actually based in Rodney Bay. Those are the questions. You can find them on the website, dolorfactorlive.com, and Facebook, Dolor Factor Live TV show. After the break, we're going to talk about values, and men, just keep seated. We'll be right back.